Throughout the duration of this mini course, I'm going to be using a deal analysis tool. Now, a deal analysis tool is essentially the bit of kit that all sellers use to help them understand things like the profit, ROI, sales per month for items, what the competition looks like, if they can or can't sell it depending on if Amazon allow it or if the brand allows it. All of that important stuff that you 100%, I promise you 100% need to know, can only be found in a deal analysis tool because they are designed to grab all of this information. If you try and do it without a deal analysis tool, again, like I said in the last video, you're basically going to be going in blind and it will be a very short-lived Amazon journey, I can promise you that. Now, the deal analysis tool that I use is called BuyBotPro. I can't recommend this one enough. It is the best. It's one of the leading deal analysis tools, and it was the world's first. So prior to this tool, there wasn't anything like this out there. So maybe you already have this, and in which case, follow along in the video, do some of this stuff with me. If you haven't got it, then let me just save you some time, and I'm going to tell you, go and get a deal analysis tool like now, because you are going to need one for selling on Amazon. You 100% need this bit of kit, otherwise you're going in blind. But don't worry, there is a free trial for BuyBotPro, so you can use it for free for 30 days. Just choose the package on the website and you'll get your 30-day free trial. And yeah, get it up and follow along with me. So let's look at a product. So I just quickly found this product from Sellability. This is another tool that I use, by the way. This is like a sourcing aid. So instead of me scouring through the Smith's Toys website and spending maybe a couple of hours in there or something crazy like that, this has basically scraped the site for me within about like 5 minutes. So I've grabbed an item from here as a random example. This was just something I looked at quickly just to bring something up for the video, so we've got a product alongside as well. Obviously, this one is out of stock. I don't know if it'll come back in stock. Oh, no longer available, so maybe not. But either way, it's just, we're going to imagine that it was in stock. So, you know, this is a reduced thing, $5.99. That's always what we want to look out for. We want to look out for these sales and so forth. You know, maybe we'll find this for a similar price at another store or, you know, something like that. Anyway, let's look at the item on Amazon. So before we do anything, let's take a look at some of these crucial settings. So the reason why this is so important is because it means that you're factoring in all the important numbers, so that way the numbers that the calculator produces is going to be accurate. There's no point in trying to like fool oneself with not having things like a prep fee. If you have a prep fee, you have to account for that. Otherwise, you're just going to have a inaccurate profit and ROI, and that doesn't help any business. So go into BuyBotPro settings. It's a little cog in the corner. And you need to enter in your VAT status. So if you're in the UK, you're either non-VAT registered, or if you are VAT registered, then it's standard accounting or the flat rate scheme. You'll know which one of those you are. HMRC will make that very clear which one it is. If you are US or Canadian seller and you're watching this, you will choose US and Canadian. And that makes it so that way you're not applicable to any of this stuff. If you happen to be an EU seller, I would recommend just to choose the standard accounting, because that's going to open up the VAT override option in the calculator, which is something you're going to need when analyzing. So VAT status, that's super important. Any prep fees that you have, if you're wondering what this is basically only if you use a prep center. So if you use a prep center to prep your items to send to Amazon, they will charge you, they'll have it like a cost per product, something like that. They should have made that clear before you even signed up with the prep center, but if you happen not to know, just ask them. And you will enter in your prep fee here per item exclusive of VAT. If they happen to charge you something more, something extra for bundles, then you can enter that bundle prep fee in here. Again, you'll only need these if you use a prep center. Now, the shipping cost is something that everyone's going to use, so you need to find out what your shipping cost is per kilo or per pound. If you really do not know, like maybe this is something that you've already worked out, or maybe it's something that was already established with the courier. But if you really don't know, maybe just ask your courier for advice and help, and they will help you figure out what the shipping cost is per kilo, per pound. So you need to ensure that that's in there. If there's anything extra you want the tool to take into account, there is an extra free box in here, so you can enter in whatever you want. Anything else that you know would probably need to be factored in. So I don't know, maybe if you use a certain payment method or whatever, like card or whatever, maybe there's like a certain like fee for using it or something. I don't know, something like that. So just ensure that you have your settings in there and save and sync. Now the ROI method, we'll talk about that just for a brief moment. I won't go too deep into this because the reality is profit matters just as much as ROI. It's essentially two different ways of judging the success of an item from like a financial standpoint. But ROI stands for return on investment. That's how much you're getting back on top of your initial investment. It's basically a percentage that sellers use to judge how well an item is going to work out. So basically the higher the ROI, the better it's going to be for you. So if you were to look up just ROI online and what the sum is, you'll see the same thing as what we have there for method 1, but I would recommend looking at and exploring some of the other methods. There's not really a right or wrong way for choosing ROI. It's going to work out the ROI regardless, but if you want a bit more of an accurate ROI that's going to factor in a bit more, and you're in the UK, I would recommend method 4. If you're in the US, method 5. If you are in the EU, I would say again, like maybe method 4, but ultimately those are just my personal recommendations. I would advise you to look through these methods and choose whichever one has everything accounted for that you want it to account for when calculating ROI. If you really don't know right now, don't worry, just choose method 1. There's not really any way you can go wrong there. So save and sync those settings, and BuyBotPro will factor them in alongside your buy price and your sell price. Now obviously this isn't a mind-blowing item that has a like super amazing profit or ROI. That I don't even think the sales are that great for this item either, but that's not what we're looking at anyway. Basically we're just looking at numbers. So buy price, sell price, you need that stuff in your calculator. If you are in the EU and you are working with a different VAT rate, then you will have this box enabled when you choose the standard accounting VAT status, and you can enter in the VAT rate that's applicable to that product. So that's what you'll do in that scenario, but ultimately it's a case of buy price, sell price. That's the important bit. Fulfillment method. So are you doing this FBA? Are you doing this merchant fulfilled? It's important because obviously with FBA there'll be FBA fees. You don't have to enter this in. BuyBotPro automatically pulls all Amazon fees directly from the Amazon calculator itself, so don't worry, you don't need to enter in anything for that. So FBA, merchant fulfilled, what's it going to be? If you choose merchant fulfilled, the FBA fees are removed from the calculations. If you were curious as to what the difference would be if you were to do FBA or merchant fulfilled for a specific item, feel free to toggle between the two and see what that difference is. Maybe doing something merchant fulfilled turns a good deal into an even better deal, or a non-deal into an okay deal. You never know unless you just give it a try, and with this calculator you can play around and experiment and see how things are going to work out. So we've got those numbers in there. If it was part of a bundle, we'll just toggle on bundle and the bundle fee will be applied. Quantity, this is the calculations for like one product only, so this is on a per item. This is on a per item scenario, but we can enter in more if we want, and it will give us the calculations for that amount and then the calculation per one. So what's important in this details section, there's quite a bit in here. Now anything that I'm not mentioning, by the way, isn't because it's not important and you shouldn't look at it. It's just there are some things in here to pay attention more to than others. So important things would be things like your break even. Now if you sell for this price, you're not making a loss nor a profit. So this is a worst case scenario kind of number. It's good to know. Total costs. So if you hover over this, you will see what makes up that total cost. So you can see how things like the FBA fees affect the numbers in here. It's useful to see this breakdown. And things like the UK VAT, for example, like that would be how much you'd pay, that would be owed to HMRC essentially. And that's basically the amount that would be claimed back if you were VAT registered, but that's a whole other conversation. Storage fees. So how long do you think this is going to be in storage for our Amazon? It will automatically account for 1 month. Storage fees aren't really anything to worry about. As you can see there, it's literally 1p for this item. There's nothing that's absolutely mind-blowing. If you're factoring in like more months, if you were buying it I don't know, in the summer and sending it in ready for Q4 and expect it to be in storage for a number of months ready for Q4, you'll put in more months there using the slider and you'll be able to see that it has obviously multiplied the storage fee. But again, 75p in this case, so it's nothing to worry about. If you happen to have a discount, maybe you have like a special card or something for the store that gives you 10% off, you can use that in the discount right there. Unless of course you've already applied that as part of the buy price. If you haven't done that, then you use the discount section. There we have the discount, and there is our ROI and our profit. So this is essentially how much money we're going to make from selling this item. What's a good ROI? What's a good profit? Now, the answer for that will differ per seller that you ask. But from a beginner standpoint, people will tell you, 30% ROI. But the truth is that it's not really like the real case. A lot of sellers end up with their first products being somewhere in between like 15 to 30% ROI. And if you're just looking to get gated, which is important for even being able to sell stuff on Amazon in the first place, I would say, as long as you're getting something that is making you some money, like it's worth it just for getting gated. There's plenty of sellers that take a loss or sell for break even just to get gated. So I'd say if you can make any money and get gated, it's still a win. So, realistically, for your first products, until you get a bit more like better trained up with sourcing and things like that, and there'll be things that you come across which will look like this. And as a beginner, I'd say, what? It's fine. Of course, as long as sales are good as well. Because remember, these numbers do not matter in the slightest if there's no sales there to back them up. In this case, the sales do not back this up, so I wouldn't bother with this item. So yeah, ROI, profit, it is what it is. Thank you for watching.